jump to the.
Oh, yeah.
Man, we just want to be free. We want to be free to ride our machines. We just want to be left alone. We want to party. We don't stay inside because of rain. We don't stay at home because it's cold. We don't even like to park our bikes. We ride. This is our biker's lifestyle.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Mr. Big Bone, 1%er. How you doing, man?
Man, good to see you guys. I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Right on, right on. Well, I guess our first question, us not being on the black set, we are kind of curious. Does the black community care about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
Ooh, well, I got to tell you, there was a big conversation. You know, we had the black people meeting just the other day, and we were talking. That's a thing. That's a thing. And you know what the big concern is whether or not Amber Heard's gonna do the damn Yoko Ono on this dude and mess up the damn Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
As long as there's
as long as there's a new movie, another Pirates of the Caribbean, nobody cares. Well, she can poop in, she can poop in his bed if she wants,
Have you ever had a chick shit in your bed?
Not recently. However,
yeah.
I did make this one chick mad as shit. She just didn't do it in the bed.
Right on.
She called her brother and that whole thing.
Dude. You see that fucking video where she did a bump on the fucking stand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, I gotta tell you, that shit is hilarious to me. Like watching like a multimillionaire have it out with another multimillionaire, and I swear you could, if you took away the money, you could put them in the trailer park and nobody would notice the difference. They talk a little different, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. No shit, they are just as white trash as us, man. Holy.
That's something that. I'm pretty sure Carol Ann pooped in Johnny Red's bed like just last week, and they were probably fighting over like the last piece of meth or something like that. But
right?
I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. But
God. No doubt, man. So, Big Bone, how'd you get into motorcycle riding?
Man, I love that question. So. Couple of things, just like a lot of kids. As a kid, I thought bikes were the coolest thing ever. So, and this is no bullshit. So what happened, I was, 12 or 13 years old. I'm at a family reunion in North Carolina. And one of the cousins rides up and he's got this motorcycle. And I'm like, hey. So I run to my cousin like, hey, can I get a ride on this motorcycle? And he goes, well, as long as it's okay with your folks, no problem, you can get a ride. So me being the good kid, I run inside, check with my parents, and they're like, yeah, sure, you can get a ride on the motorcycle. I go back outside, and now there's a line of like 20 kids lined up, actually getting on the bike, and he's running them up and down the road. I'm like, well, damn. Well, I was doing the right thing to go and this is where this 1%er mentality came from too, by the way. But I'm doing the right thing, and now I'm at the back of the line, and by the time it's my turn to ride, it's dark outside, he's tired, he's ready to go, so I don't get my ride. I'm pissed. I'm like, all right, well, first of all, I'm never going to do that whole waiting in line thing again, and I'm not going to cross the T and dot the I. I'm going to do it like the way I should have did it in the first place, just like those 15 other ones did. That's what I should have did, and I would have been first in line. First thought. Second thought was, I want a freaking motorcycle. So I go to Dad, of course, like, hey, Dad, can I get a motorcycle? He's like, well, and so his knee-jerk reaction, absolutely sure. And then, of course, Mom comes in there, no, you're not old enough. So when I was old enough, my mother hemmed and hawed, made my dad renege on his doggone promise. So I'm like, well, screw this. So I'm going to the Marine Corps and get me a motorcycle, running all around the planet. Every time I get back stateside, I'm running around on the motorcycle and all like this kind of stuff. So I've been infatuated with motorcycles ever since. So as far as the riding part was, I just been pissed off ever since missing that first ride. So I've been making up time for that one ever since. As far as the club thing, that's a little bit different. That's a different story. It's a good story though.
Well, how did you get involved in club life?
Well, okay, so let's keep it 100, as they say. So I lost my driver's license about 1988, 1989, because my unit in the Marine Corps, we were what they called there was a joke at the time. This has nothing to do with current politics, but we were a deployable combat unit. And we used to say back in the day, this is long before the thing with Hillary or any of that, we used to say we're a deplorable combat unit. And that was like our little joke, right? And the thing is that for where we were, you could pretty much do anything other than, as long as you didn't like shoot the Pope or something, you could get away with it as far as the police out in town and everything else. And, they just had standing understanding that somebody from my particular unit did something, send their ass back to the base. You don't lock them up. You don't nothing. We need that mofo. So send them back to the base. The thing is, when you get out of the Marine Corps and you still have that, I'm the golden child. I can do whatever the hell I want to do and won't get in trouble. That doesn't apply when you're no longer in the Marine Corps in that unit, but I still had that way of thinking. So I lost my license while I was still in the Marine Corps in 1988. I lost the driver's license. But, with that mentality, I'm running all around the planet like I got 10 licenses. I literally rode all over the freaking world on a motorcycle or sometimes in a car. Sometimes I get in trouble, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes they turn on those, little gumball machines and woo, like this. Yeah. Man, they were gonna earn their money that day. And so I learned after I got to Florida that, hey, you know what? Because now I got married, started having kids and all this kind of stuff. And somebody said, hey, if you're on a motorcycle, they don't really screw with you as much as they do as if you're in a car. And I'm thinking, I don't got no driver's license. And this is in 2000. I'm like, that was about 2000. So I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I don't have a driver's license. I don't want the cops to screw with me. I'm going to start riding motorcycles. So I started riding motorcycles again in Florida about 2000, and going around a little bit. We'd go to certain places. There's a real popular place here called Quaker Steak, and that's the place everybody kind of gets together and meets and everything. It's one of the biggest bike nights on the East Coast, actually. I think it's the first or second largest on the East Coast. But anyway, so I go to Quaker Steak, and there was something going on, and there was all these guys with these jackets on there. Everybody had on the same jacket. And I was like, hey, what's going on over there? Because I'm nosy as all hell. So I go to see what the heck's going on. I'm trying to move my way through. And some guys from this one particular club, hey, go beat it. This ain't for you. I'm like, yeah, but something's going on. I want to see what's going on over there. Hey, mind your business. This ain't for you. Guy literally went like this, looked on my back, and hey, this ain't for you. I'm going to beat it. Like, what the hell? This happened about 2 more times, and I learned some of the vernacular at this point. I'm like, oh, these are the motorcycle clubs like my cousin used to mess with, or some of my cousins used to deal with back in the day. What the heck's going on here? I want in. I know about motorcycle clubs. I didn't know that's what I was looking at. I want in. So I think the last time I came, and these guys, hey, look, this ain't for you. I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to start a motorcycle club so I can find out what the hell is going on over there. I'm not even kidding. That's what the hell, it was nosiness. So I'm like, hey, let me find out. So I connected with some folks, started making some phone calls, finding out about this whole MC stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm pretty ingenuitive kind of a guy. So I got together with this dope boy friend of mine who had a good friend of mine. He was in that business, and he had like 10 motorcycles. So I got together with some guys who didn't have no money, but liked to ride motorcycles, and we used his motorcycles and started a club. And the rest is history. We did everything the wrong way. And the funny thing about doing everything the wrong way, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn the right way to do it.
Yeah,
And
got a quick curve.
yeah. But in the process of doing everything the wrong way, the only benefit about doing everything the wrong way is, man, you learn real well what the right way is. More importantly, you learn why to do it the right way. And so that's kind of what happened there. I was just nosy as all hell and wanted to see what was on the other side of that big wall of damn vest that I was looking at. And the funny thing is, now that I know what was on the big side of that vest, I'm like, well, damn, I wouldn't waste my time with that anyway, because I got cooler shit going on my side of the fence anyway. So, but anyway, but at the time, I needed to know. I was nosy.
That's pretty cool, man. So you how long you been in? It's Outcast, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't discuss that, but what I can tell you is a good while. For not as, let me see, I've known Black Dragon for as long as I've known Black Dragon, to give you an idea how many years that is. But yeah, it's been a good number of years.
Nice.
But my current club, that wasn't my first club. My first club, believe it or not, was called the Biker Boys. No kidding. And yeah, swear to God. And that was that club I started. And here's the funny thing: there was a movie with the same name.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know nothing about the movie, had never seen it or heard of it, and I just thought it was a cool ass name. And somebody goes, "Yeah, that'll be a cool name." So and people, like, after the club got going, we got kind of popular. We grew, different chapters and the whole thing. And every now and then somebody would say, "Oh, you must be Smoke." Or they'd make some reference to the movie. And I just thought, man, that must be some weird biker stuff that I just don't know about. Well, I don't know why they keep saying that. And then one guy goes, "Hey, burn rubber, not your soul, baby." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Right on. I had no idea they were saying lines from the movie. When I finally saw the movie, which was about, I don't know, 3-4 years into that club, I was like, "Oh, I get it." It's like the big old giant light bulb went on, that whole thing.
Well, I mean, Black Dragon was like a, what do you call it? A technical advisor or whatever in that movie.
Yeah, he was. And the funny thing is, when we met, by the time when we actually, met and started doing stuff together and all like that, at that point, I had become familiar with him from the standpoint of, he was the guy that was in that movie. He was the guy that wrote that book. But we weren't like initially, we weren't like buddies or friends or anything like that. And I didn't realize how involved he was in that whole process. And then, you know how it is. Like, I know a guy who knows that guy, and we have mutual friends and that whole thing. So that developed pretty organically. But yeah, it was, it's just, to this day, it cracks me the hell up. I'm like, I was green as all get out, man. And so now I think, okay, I've been doing this for 22 years now. And it's amazing, like, the time flies. But then you also, in that period of time, you actually see a lot of really interesting stuff. You've seen a lot of changes, the way technology has changed, the way that we apply it, but also you see the way that the set has changed and morphed in different regions, like from what it used to be to what it is now. And you see, I've literally seen it in some areas go right back to what it used to be. I'm a big proponent of tradition, so I don't think I'm a big believer in not trying to reinvent the wheel with this stuff, But you got some young cats who come from that immediate gratification, participation trophy ideology, who just want to. That's a whole other thing. That really fucks up the set, but that's a whole, I don't want to babble your head off about that, but it's been an interesting ride, brothers.
Oh, no doubt, man.
You mentioned that, that certain type of brother. I was on a ride yesterday, talking with a friend of mine who's another club, and he said, he said every club's got it. He's like, there's that 6 or 7 guys that do everything and are always there, and then you got that other part of the club, those empty vest holders, and it's the same everywhere. Is it the same on the black set too? On
the black set, you see some of, like anything, you see there's some clubs that I call party clubs, that their whole function, and everybody shows up for everything because it's always a party. They're showing up for the party. And then you have more traditional clubs where some of those clubs have those issues with the guy who's just basically just sucking down some oxygen, who will show up for church every other church or something like that, and he'll show up for a party, but not to clean up after. And
Right.
so you got that whole thing, and then you got on my level of things, it's going to be pretty different. It's folks show up, you're plugged in, like I was actually talking to somebody a little earlier. I can tell you, it's harder to earn that jewelry than it is to keep it.
Oh yeah.
It's harder to get that patch than it is to keep it, because you earn that mofo every day. So it's a different sort of a thing. That's why I always say, I don't say it out loud a lot, but for our purposes here, when some girl gets together with a guy with certain clubs like mine and so forth, I always say, hey, you might want to, check your mental, talk to your psychiatrist, talk to your preacher or your parents a little bit first, because your ass might be crazy for the ride that you're getting ready to go on. Because if you love a guy, oh man, I hate to quote that damn TV show, but it's true. That girl on Sons says to her daughter-in-law, she goes, hey, if you love the man, you got to learn to love the club, because in certain clubs like mine, the club trumps a whole lot of everything. The club and your brothers are gonna trump everything. And it doesn't suggest that you don't love your family or don't love your job or love your, whatever the heck it is that you love in life. But the club is the end all to be all. Everything revolves around the club. So the old ladies, which, in the spirit of Mother's Day, the old ladies that find themselves with their guy for a long period of time, hey, she gets that. She gets that, and she plays her role, and she understands that sometimes he might get that weird ass phone call at 3:27 a.m. and might be gone for a week, or she might understand that hey, he's gonna say, hey, come on, let's go. Where are we going? I don't know. Maybe we'll go to the clubhouse, or maybe we're gonna go to somebody else's club. Like in clubs like mine, we've got chapters all over the friggin' place. So, you might be staying in town, or you might be on the road for the next 12 hours going somewhere else. So your lifestyle is tailored to, not so much to accommodate the club, but it's tailored to mesh with what's going on in the club. It's like in some clubs, I'll tell you a difference that I see. In certain clubs, I've heard guys say stuff like, oh, damn, I've got to go to such and such. Our ideology is, oh, hell yeah, I get to go to such and such. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Whereas in some of those other clubs, it's a chore. And which I always suggest to people, man, if your club feels like it's a job that you're punching a clock and not getting paid for, and it feels like that to you, man, put them rags on the bar and do yourself a favor. Because if it's not in your heart, man, don't put it on your back. Okay, it started to get a little bit better. Did you change something, Tank?
Don't touch a damn thing. I just checked.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you perfect now.
Okay. So
Weird, man.
Whatever he did, I don't know what you did, but
Checked my phone up and texted you the question.
oh, damn.
So on this end, we'll do this for editing purposes. So Big Bone, what made you want to be a 1%er?
Wow. You know what? And I kind of love that question. I'll tell you what it is. It was never, honestly, in the case of me, there was nothing that ever said, I want to be a 1%er. And fortunately, I know with us anyway, we don't, a lot of clubs say this, but with us, it's legitimately true. We don't recruit. Like, we don't go out and, put up flyers and posters and send out emails, come to the, it's not like that at all. What happens is, I was a certain type of individual. I always, for as long as I was familiar with Outkast, I had love for this club. I was very impressed with, like, when I'd see these guys go out and do things. I think the first time I actually saw the club, I was at and this is going to sound kinky, I was at a event called Freaknik. They used to do it in Atlanta every year. And I went there one time and I saw these guys. And the first time I saw them, I thought, man, that must be a rock and roll band, because they're wearing the same clothes. They got these cool ass motorcycles, this jewelry, girls all over them everywhere. I'm like, man, who is that? And then as I learned a little more, I'm like, oh, damn, that's those guys. So over a number of years, I started learning about who those guys were. And I thought, man, that's, they do some pretty impressive stuff. and I'm speaking from, that was my way of thinking back then. So going forward, back in the day, I didn't have any intention on moving in the direction of Outkast or being a 1% or any of this kind of stuff. It was just a very natural progression with the stuff that I was doing. Whereas my club that I mentioned before, the Biker Boys, got kind of big, started being kind of influential, and spending time with a lot of different folks, a lot of different diamonds from different clubs, and their lifestyle mimicked my lifestyle, and it just made more sense to me. So before I went to Outkast, I was actually looking at a completely different club, and I've only been with 3 clubs in my whole life, but so I was with a support club, and the support club, even though they were a fine club, they didn't move like I used to. They didn't have the same ideology that I did, and I noticed that the guys in Outkast did. So the way that Outkast works, we don't recruit, like I mentioned. So I wasn't recruited. It was more of, hey man, you make sense to us, and we might make sense to you. If so, hang out, spend a little time, and guess what? We spoke the same language. So these guys just basically showed me where home was. And so like with us, we don't make 1%ers. You know what I mean? It's like there's a bunch of guys in clubs right now that have a 1%er mentality that just hadn't found their way home yet. And that's kind of the way that we look at it. And it was a very natural progression. There was nothing forced about it or anything like that. The getting into the club, that ain't an easy process. And that is not a easy proposal. I'm saying once you say, yep, I want to do this, that's when the games begin, man.
Yeah,
And
careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Listen, let me tell you, I don't care whatever club you go in. Here's how you know you're with the right club. If at one point, while you're a probate or probie or prospect, whatever you want to call it, while you're during that prospect phase, if you don't say to yourself a time or two, maybe 3 or 4 times, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
Or what the hell am I doing? Or how the hell did I get here?
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then you might not be with the right club.
Right. That's very true.
It's supposed to be tough.
Yeah.
So what's the best part about being in a club for you?
Man, you know what? So I mentioned earlier, I was in the Marine Corps, and we have this thing we call esprit de corps. And in plain English, esprit de corps is it's just a spirit of brotherhood, unlike you might have even in some cases with your own blood brother. Mm-hmm. This is one of those situations where come hell or high water, good, bad, or indifferent, you could have just been cussed out by this guy who's wearing your patch. You might cuss him out, or you might not can stand each other, but damn it, you'll catch a bullet for him, or you might share one for him at the same time. This is a sort of place where it's a no excuses kind of, I don't always like you, but God damn it, I love you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to prove that to you time and time and time again. Like I mentioned, that 3:27 a.m. phone call, if you call certain blood members of your family or people who say, man, I got you. Call them at 3:27 in the morning and tell them they need to, ride 60 miles down the road to come. Either you're broke down on your bike or you're in a hell of a situation and it ain't looking good. When you make that phone call, there's only a few folks that's actually going to answer. And then more importantly than just answering, who are going to actually get their ass up out of bed, if they're even in bed, and take that ride to come and back you up. And they're going to do it with a quickness. Oh, yeah. It's a different, it's that, and the thing is, that didn't exist and it doesn't exist for a lot of folks outside of the military. In my case, I was in the Marine Corps. And if you guys know anything about Marines, we're damn near like a cult with that stuff. You can't get 2 Marines in the same place at the same time who never met each other before without them, jumping up and down like a couple of 4-year-olds and then swapping stories and everything. And, I know a lot of people have been in different branches of the military, but you see Marines, it's like a religion. You have to put that damn sticker on your car and the sticker on your bike, and you got to get the freaking tattoo. And at least once or twice a week, you got some USMC related stuff that you're wearing. And everybody that knows us and loves us are absolutely sick of our shit. We're so sick of hearing all of this stuff. But so outside of the Marine Corps, that was a thing that didn't exist for me. It was very foreign. In fact, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I went through withdrawals. I didn't want to deal with certain folks and people that didn't have that same background. I didn't really talk to them or deal with them. I mean, for business purposes, I dealt with folks, but they weren't the same. It wasn't the same. Right. Whereas when I found myself gravitating toward the set, the MC community, I started seeing a bit more of that. By the time I got with my club now, that's all I see. And that's just this one of those, grass is green, water's wet. Your brother is your freaking brother, like for real. That's the thing. And I'm blessed in the sense that my DNA blood family is pretty freaking fantastic. That's not the case for everybody, because there's brothers that grew up without a dad. Guess what? You got one now. Grew up without brothers. Guess what? You got one now. Their family members screwed them over. Guess what? You don't got to deal with them no more, because this family over here they're going to do it the right way. So it's an extremely special kind of a thing. It's an extremely special kind of a thing. And, I feel absolutely blessed that for however it was it happened, that I found my way this way. It's the best.
And I agree. And I got to tell you, I seek other patch members out to hang out. I get along better with patch holders and clubs than I do with just regular normal people out there.
Yeah,
I find patch holders to be a much more deliberate person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Say what you mean what you say.
Oh yeah.
No bullshit. Hold on. Let's just get right down to the bottom of what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Hem and haw shit.
Oh yeah, man. I remember like it was yesterday. It was about 2007. This one fella from a 1%er club, a white guy, different club. And, so it's a number of us from these different clubs, both 1%er clubs and otherwise. We get along, we hang out. Some of them are my tightest best friends. But this one particular fella was telling me in 2007, we're hanging out in front of a completely different 1%ers clubhouse. And we were just kind of chopping it up and chit-chatting about some stuff. And he asked me if I could do a favor for him. And I said, yeah, I could probably do that. He says, are you sure you can do it? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do it. He said, man, I'll tell you what. He says, this is one of those times where you lie about all, can we cuss on here? Is there? Oh, okay. All right. Well, in that case, so he says, well, look at here, man. He goes, I'm going to lie to you about all the pussy I'm getting, and you lie to me about all the pussy you're getting. But let's not lie to each other about like important stuff. He goes, especially when I'm wearing this and you're wearing that. He goes, when that happens, we got to shoot straight. And then he made a joke. He said, unless we're talking about pussy, then we can lie all over the place. And we laughed and joked about it. But and I've heard that in different variations of that same conversation a lot. And the thing that I came into this thing with is, man, that's pretty similar to our ideology in the Marine Corps. Like, hey, whatever, like if during wartime you need to appropriate something to get a certain job done, you can get that job done by any means necessary. But what you don't do is you don't steal it from your brother. You don't lie to your brother. And brothers are my brothers in the club, but also there's a community of those of us who wear these patches who earn them and that are worthy of respect and the honor that you dishonor yourself and your club when you do dishonorable shit. So there's a lot of folks who fall within the realm of folks that should enjoy that honesty, the integrity, and the honor that goes along with this stuff that we do. Most bikers, and you were real correct when you said this, I find most bikers to be real straight up, very, very deliberate. And these are the folks that you can absolutely trust. If a biker tells you, I'll be there tonight, he might be running late. That happens because, we ride motorcycles and all kinds of other crazy stuff, but he's coming. You can feel really confident that he's coming. If he says, hey, I'm going to take care of this headache or this problem for you, you can feel really confident that he meant what he said and said what he meant. That's not always the case with civilians, man. It's unfortunately, it's just not.
Well, I heard that that last episode you did with Black Dragon, where you're talking about relationships. That even if you don't have the same patch, you'll develop relationships with other clubs. So you could be like, well, I know this one dude in this area, and he's got a chapter in this area, and even though my guy is out there and there's a chapter of another club, we're cool with them. I'll give him a call. He can help you out.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little secret. We knew what we were talking about. We were thinking of some very specific examples when we were talking about that. We didn't share what those specific examples were, but that wasn't just conversation. That's something that happens on a regular daily basis. Whereas we interact with of course, with each other, in our own clubs. But I broke down. I was in a town called Cartersville, Georgia, which is it's like in the northern part of Georgia. I was coming back from, I might have mentioned this before. I was coming back from Canada or Michigan or something. Anyway, I was on my way back to Florida, and I break down in Cartersville, Georgia, and I'm like, son of a gun, where the heck am I? Da 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 da. I made 2 phone calls. I called my chapter in Chattanooga, and I called the chapter in Tampa to let them know what was going on, and they put me at ease immediately. Like, hey, don't worry about it. Relax. We got you. 20 minutes later, a guy from a club that I didn't even realize I was familiar with the guy's club. Guy showed up, and the guy, I'll say his name. I won't mention his club, but the guy's name is Quake. You ever met a guy that was so big that they couldn't talk right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
This guy, so he shows up, big. I'm talking 6'6", pushing 400 pounds, black dude, sort of did the Frankenstein walk a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this guy. He's blocking out the sun as he's coming through through the parking lot. And we're in this little gas station with a little Wendy's restaurant or whatever next to it. And he comes into the place, and everybody turns around like everybody in the place is like, uh-oh. And he goes, is you Big Bone? I'm like, yeah. Who's asking? He goes,
Possibly.
I'm Quake. I'm Quake. It's okay, Quake. Glad that you're here, man. What's going on? And he goes, your people called to say, come on down here. I said, oh, okay. I'm looking for like the trucks and trailers. I'm like, oh, you got a trailer or something out there? He goes, nah. I'm like, okay, all right, Quick. Well, like, what? He made a few words.
Are you gonna
like,
carry my bike on your back?
Yeah. So I'm like, so what are you? So what's the plan here, Quake? He said, they told me to make sure you don't get dead while you in Cartersville. I said, pardon me there, Quake. What the hell did you just say? They said make sure you don't get dead, while using Cartersville. And I had to stop and think about it. I said, okay, I guess it's good not to get dead while I'm in Cartersville. Okay, Quake, I'm with you. I'm with you right now. Make sure I don't get dead. That's what's up. That's cool. So Quake just kind of posted up at the door doing this.
There you go.
For about a half hour. And I tell you, this mofo, he didn't say shit for like 30 minutes. Every now and then he'd look over, make sure we wasn't dead. That was 30 minutes. So after that, there's about, I'm not exaggerating, about 30, probably between 30 or 40 bikes start rolling into the into the gas station parking lot. Brand new, big, beautiful, shiny truck and trailer. I mean, like brand new type stuff. I'm like, good Lord. So I'm saying it's a bunch of white guys. And they're like, hey, you Big Bone 1%er. And I said, yeah, I am. Said, hey, your folks called. We got you. I'm in Cartersville, Georgia. They load me up. We chit chat a little bit, and we start taking a ride. And we go way out in the woods and more woods and more woods. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, I seen this movie. Yeah, Burt Reynolds was in this movie, and somebody had a banjo. Yeah, I'm like, oh boy, here goes. So we actually went to their clubhouse, which was in Ackworth, Georgia, and so we went out there, partied like till like crazy. So after a little bit, they're like, hey man, so what do you want to do? I'm like, man, I got to get on back. And they said, okay, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, tell me where I am. I'm going to call my brothers. They're going to come and pick me up. I'm like, where? I said, where's the closest one of my clubhouses to where we are now? And he's like, you want to go north? You want to go south? I said, well, I got to go south. I'm trying to get back to Florida. They said, damn, that's all the way down in Atlanta. I said, hey, if it's cool with you guys, I'll hang out. My bros will come and get me. They said, no. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. All right. I'm looking for the banjo. I'm like, oh boy, here it comes. He goes, no, we got you. We got you. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, man, that's a long way. That's a long way. Hey, man, look. They go, I don't know how you guys do where you're from, but here in this state, we got you. They loaded me up, drove me all the freaking way to Atlanta, and that was a long damn drive. Drove me all the way to Atlanta. We got there to the big house, that's the clubhouse in Atlanta, partied like crazy, and the crazy stuff was everybody knew each other, and nobody was even close to each other, but they were close to each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this wouldn't take any money. I tried 3 different times to give him money for gas. The guy, hey, man, he said, stop. You're gonna come on, don't do that. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. I was touched, and I also learned that this old school biker stuff still exists. That was only about 5 years ago, and I was like, man, it's still going on. Thank goodness, this old school ideology that folks had once upon a time is still going on. To qualify this, these are all white guys. So that's another thing that's a common misconception. People think that, especially nowadays, people want to believe because of politics and all this other stuff that there's this big old war brewing between the white set and the black set because people say the white set and the black set. Man, nothing could be farther from the truth. In fact, it's the exact opposite of that. It's like, hey, everybody knows that, here, the only difference is we'll actually say, hey, he's a white guy. And he'll say, hey, that's a black guy. That's about as much as anybody gives a fuck about it. We're more concerned with who your club is than whether you're black, white, plaid, or green. Nobody gives a damn. We get down the way we get down and everything's good. Yeah, it's a good situation.
Oh, this past winter, I was at a party in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I ran into one of your guys that was hanging out, and I had some extra drink tickets. I'm like, hey man, I know this dude named Big Bone 1%er. He's with the guys' club, and here are my drink tickets. I got to take off, so you can have them. And I don't know you, but cool. You must be cool. Here you go. And he was like, all right, man, thanks. And I mean, it's that's how it is. I don't know this dude from a hole in the wall. We're a different color. I don't give a fuck.
But here's the thing. Dragon told me this really interesting story. They had the short version of it, and I'm going to try not to mess it up too much, but they were at one of our clubhouses in a different state, had just left there. They were kind of new to that area, had some concerns, worked it out. We sort of alluded to it on that show that you were mentioning. Had some issues, got all that stuff worked out with a few phone calls, and these guys who were at our place left. A whole other group of folks wanted to give them a hard time. They made a phone call back to our guys, and next thing you know, there's 150 of my brothers in a parking lot saying, hey, these guys are good. Man, I'm censoring all this, but these guys are good, and they're going home tonight, and if you guys are smart, you can too. And and they were like, wow, they had no idea that kind of, but you know what? It's all about this love thing, man, because that's a thing that people don't actually get. The best friend that a civilian can have is some biker.
Oh yeah.
Some guy who's got grease under his knuckles and from twisting wrenches on his Harley, and maybe he don't use the King's English so perfect, and maybe he's a little dusty looking every now and again when he puts on those old dirty rags that he protects and loves so good and everything like that. But guess what? If that guy's got love for you, man, you'll be hard pressed to find that kind of love outside of your mother.
Right on.
That's true, man.
Oh man, hey, I suck because I just realized what time it is. I gotta jump on over there to the doggone roundtable, fellas. I just glanced up.
Well, hey, man. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Man, and listen, I enjoyed this, and I hope I didn't talk y'all's head off too damn much tonight.
Hell no, man.
But brother, it's definitely a good time. We got to do it again. Hopefully, sometime soon, brothers. We can do it again.
And Bone, when I get back down there in October, you and me, we're gonna get together.
Man, I'm saying, I'm vexed like a motherfucker because
like
last time that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Freaking man, life got in the way. But I'll tell you this, and I'll shut the hell up. So I'm coming out with a new show. Hopefully by next week. Yeah, I got a bunch of equipment to figure out how to use it and stuff. But anybody wants to get at me, the what is it on Facebook? Is bone.outkast, I think, and on the Instagram is Big Bone OFFO, and the email, I know that one by heart. That one's bone.outkast@gmail.com. But I love hearing from the folks because y'all give me great ideas and ask great questions, and that's really what it's all about, is just letting folks know, like, hey, here's how this stuff is supposed to work. Yeah. Sometimes on the news and stuff like that, they don't really say what's really going on. Right, fellas. Man.
All right, Bone. Talk to you soon, man.
Man, thanks for having me on here tonight, fellas.
Later on, man.
Thanks, man.
Right on.
Cool.
Right on.
You can just drop off because we're going to talk. Well, we got to end this shit. We got to end this.
Oh, go ahead and end it.
You're seeing it live here, folks. Yeah, this is how we end this shit. That was Big Bone 1%er. Good man. That was good shit. Yeah, all right, man. Yeah.
Go fast, take chances.
Yeah, right fast, take chances, man. Later.
Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. 'Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place off the liquor that we chase. Got some egos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. 'Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict 'cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.